Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain, and I'm your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 300 of our trek, and yesterday we compared the trails of inheritance versus legacy. We discovered that although many people think that they are the same, there are distinctive and important differences between the two. We have crossed over the 300-day milestone, and we are excited as we continue toward completing our full year of Wisdom Trek. Thank you for coming along with me each day as we explore and consume the small nuggets of wisdom. These bits of wisdom help us to live a rich and satisfying life while creating our living legacy. While some of the daily treks are a multi-part series, you can join us at any time and start along with us from that point on. If you would like to listen to any of the past episodes, please go to wisdom-trek.com to listen to them and to read the daily journal. You can also subscribe to Wisdom Trek at iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play, and by doing so, each day's trek will be downloaded to you automatically. We are recording our podcast from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. We have been observing our pair of hawks daily, and we've settled on that they are the red-shouldered hawks because their coloring and their calls. We do not believe that they have laid their eggs yet, as both of them remain very active, working on their nests, flying around, and eating small rodents. We will keep you updated as we observe more. Check out our journal on wisdom-trek.com for a couple pictures of the hawks. It is great that we enjoy watching God's creation and being able to see spring wake up, all the while standing in silence at my computer and doing what I love, including creating these journals for our Wisdom Trek. There certainly is wisdom in being silent and observing. And this brings us to our trek for today as we explore the wisdom of silence. Today, let's discover learning to talk less and say more. You know who I really appreciate? Those people who aren't uncomfortable with silence. Those people with whom I can sit at the table and have a delicious meal and not feel uncomfortable when none of us has anything really to say. I love people who can communicate with one another, not just with words, but also with silence. As we hike onward today, I will mix some quotes, proverbs, and just some good old practical horse sense about the treasure of silence. I'm sure that you have all experienced being with somebody who could just not stand a moment of silence, so they fill every gap of the silence with speaking even when it's not relevant. Some people are convinced to be a good conversationalist that there has to be verbal conversations going on at all times. Life is a series of balances. Extremes on either end of the spectrum are usually not prudent. As the Swedish proverb says, fear less, hope more. Whine less, breathe more. Talk less, say more. Hate less, love more. And all good things are yours. I'm sure all of us have done the same where we have been in situations where we have talked too much, or we have said something that is either inappropriate or irrelevant. There are times that we just talk and talk without actually saying anything. Maybe it's because we want to feel that we're heard and that people acknowledge our presence and existence. But is that really the way to go about it? Wouldn't it be wiser to talk less and say more, while at the same time immersing ourselves in the moments of silence and allowing them just to be? Those individuals who habitually talk too much are usually a victim of low self-esteem or a puffed-up ego, which are actually two sides of the same coin. Plato described it this way: wise men speak when they have something to say, fools because they have to say something. It seems to me that a lot of times we talk just so we won't be quiet, thinking that silence is something to be ashamed about, something to be avoided. But it is not. There's nothing really wrong with silence. I'm not really sure how we got the idea that silence is awkward and that it should be avoided at all costs. In fact, 2 verses that I enjoy from the book of Proverbs addresses this issue quite bluntly. Consider these 2 verses the next time that you're ready to open your mouth. The first one is Proverbs chapter 17, verse 28. Even fools are thought wise when they keep silent. With their mouths shut, they seem intelligent. The next is Proverbs chapter 10, verse 19. Too much talk leads to sin. Be sensible and keep your mouth shut. These 2 verses should give us pause when we feel compelled to open our mouth and to share our wisdom. Silence is a precious gift. It's a space between our words. It's where we find ourselves. When the mind is quiet and when there are no thoughts or no words that would be said, we can hear our own heart talking to us. We can hear our own soul and our own intuition. These are the times that God can really communicate with us. As Herman Melville explains exactly what I mean, God's one and only voice is silence. When we allow ourselves to be quiet, to breathe in and to breathe out, without the need to force ourselves to say another word or to think another thought, that's when we can hear God's voice, our inner voice, our heart, and our intuition. That's when we can experience our spirit being united with God's spirit. This is where we can discover our own beauty and perfection that we are within God's economy. I have learned more from being quiet and from embracing silence than I have learned from thinking and from talking. Silence is a great teacher, whispering in my ears and helping me to know things that I won't be able to discover anywhere else. Francis Bacon said it this way, "Silence is a sleep that nourishes wisdom." The reason why so many of us are under so much stress because we haven't learned to quiet our minds and to embrace silence. We haven't learned to just appreciate and see the value and the wisdom that comes from being quiet. Who says that you have to be thinking and you have to be talking all the time? Who says that it's not okay to have moments where you just don't have anything to say? Who says that you should be talking nonstop even when you don't have anything valuable to say? The Roman poet Ausonius said, "He who does not know how to be silent will not know how to speak." So let's learn to talk less and say more. When you use words, use them because they will brighten somebody's day and because they will teach and impact people with something valuable. Don't use words just for the sake of using them. Use them because you have something impactful to say. Do you believe that you can only communicate using words? Do you think silence is something that should be avoided? When you are alone with somebody, if there are a few moments when none of you has anything to say, does silence make you feel uncomfortable? Some of the most precious times that Paula and I have is the comfort that we can be together and not say anything, knowing that our love for each other is always there, even when nothing is being said. Being comfortable with yourself. As we continue on our wisdom trek each day, take time to be silent and reflect on life. Remember that God spoke to Elijah in a gentle whisper. Tomorrow we will hike the trail and look for 9 moments of happiness. So encourage your family and friends to join us, and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. That will finish our podcast for today. Just as you enjoy these daily doses of wisdom, we ask you to help us to grow Wisdom Trek by sharing it with your family and friends through email, Facebook, Twitter, or in person when you meet with them, and invite them to come along with us each day. The journal for today's trek can be found at wisdom-trek.com. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, you are my friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. As we take this trek together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.